Hello, Big Brother fans. It's the final time you'll see me tonight. Someone asked me to please do an episode review. So here I am. This is episode 19, August 8th of 2013. We are officially halfway through this game. They had a halfway game celebration last night in the Big Brother household with pizza and cake. So they were told that tonight 2 people would leave and that they would become members of the jury. And of course, that was a very quick oh shit moment for several of them. Like I told you on last night's episode review, that there are quite a few of the people that are in there that never ever took the time to know anything other than Candace's first name and that she was black. Seriously. Apparently, Gina Marie knew a little bit more about her because as her parting gift, she dug in very, very personally and very, very deep and very, very something that most people would never, ever, ever go there. I was also asked to please give my impressions about the season so far. And I will probably intersperse that as I'm talking about it, or I don't know, I might do a separate episode, we'll see. The natives are restless. Jessie wanted Amanda out, and so she started to bring it up to Helen. She said she would try to see what she could do, but she would try. So then Jessie went to go to Judd, who is actually in an alliance with Amanda, and he said, well, it's something I really got to think about. Meanwhile, Helen goes to Andy, who is also in that same alliance with Amanda, and he says he thinks that it is too early. So it was kind of more or less squashed. It actually was brought up more than several times over this week about putting Amanda, getting her out. But almost every single time, it was almost immediately squashed. And I think that hindsight is 20/20, and when they go back and they look at this, when they're ending up having to decide between her and Aaron, they're really, really going to be sorry that they did not listen to Jessie, and Jessie can do a I told you so moment. They had news for the house guests. They were told that the jury members were beginning tonight and that it would be a 9-person jury. And then Julie Chen also said, just because you are on the jury doesn't necessarily mean you are out of the game. In my mind, that brought up 2 things almost immediately, except that later on, one of the 2 things were quashed. And one of them was, I thought that at some point the jury members were going to be allowed to be the MVP, but since she said that the MVP was officially over for this summer, that would take that idea away. The second idea was automatically that they're going to be sequestered. They're not going to be given any updates. They might be kept separately instead of in a jury house. And the possibility, because Julie tweeted the reset button, a picture of a reset button, it almost feels as if the game is going to be reset. And if you remember, I vaguely remember it last year when the coaches were put into the game, they were allowed and given the choice of resetting the game and allowing them to enter the game. So I have a feeling that the jury members might be given that choice to go back into the game. And I'm telling you right now, there's not one of the people that are leaving that are gonna say, hell no, I don't want to go back in there. Of course they're going to want to go back in there. They want that chance of $500,000 instead of the $14,000 that they're normally insured for being in the jury. Come on now. I mean, you have to really be stupid to not, Anyway, let's see. The speeches, each one had to give their speech before they were voted out. And Candace pretty much went off on Gina Marie, telling her, that she's a 32-year-old grown-ass woman that lives with her mother. And Gina Marie, of course, being as classless as she is, decides that she's going to try and suck up some of Candace's airtime and try to talk back at her. And I couldn't really hear her over Candace. But, you know, what ifs. Spencer thanked his job and blah, blah, blah. The house and Amanda thanked her mom and dad, blah, blah, blah. We voted. Candace was voted out unanimously. Candace, let's see. As she was leaving, Gina Marie told her, get to step in, don't let the door hit you on your backside. And Candace tells her, yeah, you go home to your mommy. And this is when she did her dig, which wasn't really cool at all. And she says, well, at least my mother loves me unlike yours. And I don't know if I already told you the backstory to this, but you can Google, or you can video search it on YouTube. Find out what Candace's last name is. I can't remember it offhand. And type in her name, Oprah, Big Brother, and adopted, something like that. And a video will come up. She was on Oprah. She found out that she was adopted when she was 26, I believe. She's 28 now, I think. She said she always thought something, was different, and some things the mom had said, like she had a hysterectomy a couple of years before she was even born. Things all added up, but she never really questioned anything until, I believe she said she saw an Oprah show, and that's when she said it rang true. And anyway, Candace was reunited with her birth mother, and her birth mother is white, and so I don't, no, that was from the feeds. Anyway, Candace was adopted, and so to me, that dig was a well below the belt dig. That's just something I don't think anyone should ever go to. That's my opinion, and I'm allowed to have it. Candace had her exit interview, and Julie asked her, well, you and Gina Marie really got into it. And she says, that's how I was raised, was to stand up for myself, and I'm not going to allow anybody to walk all over me like that. And then she says, well, Howie tried to simmer you down a couple of times. And she was like, yeah, he had a totally different way of seeing things. And I mean, I get it, because I have seen things, and I think yesterday I told you to do the YouTube search on Amanda Zuckerman and Warrior, and look that up, and you'll see all the slurs and stuff. And I don't think anybody has compiled one yet for Aaron, but it has been pretty bad in the house. They've done the house guests have gotten quite a fairly good edit. Aaron was kind of hung out to dry. There are quite a few others in there that really, Gina Marie being one of them. So anyway, we move on, and I thought that she had a very classy exit interview. She looked cute as hell in that clowny tard. She is a very sweet girl. And yes, she does mouth off. Yes, she is very emotional, but I think she played a very clean game. HOH, and the name of the HOH game was called Summer School, and it was a knowledge of the items or events that had happened that summer, and the answers would be very simple, either more or less. And in the long run, Aaron won HOH. She was quite ecstatic. This is her third HOH. And so even though she doesn't really get the HOH room this week, it doesn't really matter. She's had it twice. And she knows what it feels like, even though, you do get all the perks, which is, a nice bathroom to yourself, a shower, nice, warm shower, a bath, your own bed, your own room, blah, 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 your own food, your own stuff. But, like I said, she's already been it twice before. Anyway, she nominated Spencer and Jesse. And Spencer was worried because he says, if you put me up against, so-and-so, then I'm going home. And I'm thinking, and she should worry about this. Why? How did all of a sudden you become relevant, Spencer, to Amanda's game? I mean, they barely speak. Anyway, they were then told that the MVP was done, which took away that one option of, having a jury member be the MVP, voting for a third person. And they went out for the POV, and when they did come back, the couch for the 3 people up on the block was taken away and 2 chairs was replaced. So it is true, the MVP is truly done. They go out to play, and it was called Nailed It, and it was a toolbox where they had to find 6 colored nails that they had to complete a veto puzzle that, the nail would only fit perfectly into one slot. And while we were to commercial, chips were pulled, and Andy, Judd, and Amanda were allowed to play along with Aaron, Spencer, and Jesse. Erin won the POV, and she went and conferred a little bit during the commercial breaks and a little while we got to watch. And at the last second, even though she, spoke with Spencer and Andy and a little bit with Judd, Helen pulled her aside, and a lot of things were bleeped out. And Helen doesn't generally swear a lot. So I think that they were bleeping out game so that we wouldn't know right away. Anyway, Judd was put up, and Aaron told him, I've been told that you're playing me, and you were thinking that I would not realize that it was happening. So, I'm putting you up. And he was kind of like, huh, what? So this is where things get kind of sketchy. He was unanimously voted out, okay? But during Erin's speech, she said, all but 2 of us wanted this. So, and I'll go home if I don't do this. I'm sorry. So was she threatened? Was Helen threatening her? I did catch a very short part of what Helen said. And, she was like, you rock, do this, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't get how Helen is still controlling her vote. I really don't. I mean, did she threaten her and tell her, if you don't do this, we're going to turn on you? How is, I don't know. I'm very, and as Helen was, or as Judd was leaving, he was hugging one of the fake blondes, and he said something. I need to go back and listen, because we were all in a tizzy as we were watching. But it sounded like Helen said, this has nothing to do with me, Judd. And yeah, so let's see what I wrote here. Spencer. Okay, I wrote down what they said in their little speeches. Spencer said, if you have any room in your long game, go ahead and keep me. And Judd said, obviously you all want me gone, but just realize that everything that's said in here is not true. And you know what? I'm not sure, having seen as much feeds as I have, that that Aaron was a part of Judd's game. I can't remember that ever being part of it. I have heard him say Helen, and I have heard him say Elissa. I have never heard him say Aaron. So I think it might have been Helen that made her do the dirty work. And I think that by Aaron saying, I'll go home if I don't do this, was her way of trying to save that jury vote. I don't know. I do know that when he went out to talk to, when Judd went out to go talk to Julie Chen, she said, well, what was Aaron referring to? He says, I don't know, I'm just as confused. I just love him. I love him, but he was playing Jesse, and it was unkind. But, I mean, a lot of people do a lot of unkind things. I'd probably do very unkind things if I was in there for $500,000, even though I would try not to. $500,000 is $500,000, people. So she told him, you're off to the jury, and he says, me and Candace. And you know what? I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad, because then, you know what? Judd and Candace can get to know one another if they are going to a jury house. I don't know. Are they? Are they going to be sequestered? What's going on? How's that going to happen? I gotta know. Anyway, this part I don't think was very fair, that he was allowed to listen in on the house guests, and you can clearly hear Helen talking and saying he's a schemer. So I don't know that was really fair to Helen's game. I mean, I think she was her fate was already sealed in terms of what Judd was thinking, as he was saying things when he was leaving. But I still don't think that that's fair. I don't think that they should be allowed to hear anything that goes on the minute they walk out that door. I did miss the goodbyes, especially for Candace. I mean, I think she kind of deserved the goodbyes, but yet, it was an evening packed full of craziness. Anyway, that's my review. I'll talk about the season to date maybe a little later. Bye.